How are you doing?
Under the circumstances, I'm doing fine.
Where are we now?
We're at the sports arena.
Sports arena.
Whatever this is called, the sports arena.
Yeah, it's not on the way. It's called not on the way.
Yeah.
Polish. And what are you doing here? Where are you here?
So, Adam invited me here about 4 years ago, maybe longer, and I came and had a very good time.
4 years, and it's like you went there each year, every year, or?
No, just once before.
Oh, okay.
It probably was 8 years ago, but I've lost track of time. And it went very well. But coming every year doesn't make any sense. So this year he said, "You want to come again?" And I said, "Yeah, sure."
Have you seen a lot?
I haven't seen as much as I would like to see. So
Yeah, well, it's impossible. I
It's
think.
impossible.
For people for a person like you, I think it's.
well, tomorrow I'm going to come back here because I missed a lot of things here that I wanted to see. So I'll come back here tomorrow and I'll see.
And what makes? Do you like the show? What makes it special?
Well, first of all, coming to a different country and seeing people react to the same stuff that we react to at home is always interesting.
What is the difference, by the way, between their, let's say, Polish market or European market? Because I see the difference between Munich show and Polish show, and it should be.
Well, first of all, I don't know about the market because I don't see what's selling. I don't understand that. But the demographic of who comes here is so much younger
Really?
than in America. Yeah, in America, first of all, the number of people that come to this show is enormous compared to America. We don't have shows that get this many people. I just don't.
And Las Vegas?
That's dead now. And
Yes.
that's not
Okay.
that's not a consumer show. That's
Well, I've heard it, but I just,
yeah, it's dead. But it's dead for our industry. It's still
Okay, it's good to know.
it's a gadget show, and television.
So you don't go there.
I've gone every year since 1978.
And when did you stop?
This is the first year I will not be going. I would have gone, but my corporate masters don't want me to go. So I have to pay my own way, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
Yeah, it's gotten so stupidly expensive too. That's another problem. So there's nothing that's going to be there for money. That's going to be.
And so you think that more young people are interested in it in Europe here?
Judging what I see here, yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, there's lots of young people, and they're interested, and their musical tastes are much more varied. I mean, when I was here the first day, there was 4 young guys. They must have been in their 20s at the most, sitting and listening to opera. You wouldn't see that in America.
Really?
No.
Yeah,
It's sad. That's because in America, the first thing they cut when education budgets get cut is music. That's what they cut. They don't think it's a necessity. It's a necessity. But I think music is a necessity. Of course, we think so, but we're nuts.
But what do you think about the main purpose of the audio in general?
Main purpose of what?
Audio, the setups, the speakers. Why do people do that, and why do they have to do it?
Why do they have to set up speakers?
Yes. Why is it? What is it for? In your opinion, what do you think?
Well, to get the acoustics right, to make the speakers work in your room, they've got to be placed in a certain place to work best, to create the best imaging and sound staging and balance.
What is sound staging? What is it?
Do you know, I was an expert witness in the trial. Quincy Jones, you know Quincy Jones?
Yeah, I've heard.
He sued the estate of Michael Jackson, and I was an expert witness
Really?
in that case. Yeah, you can watch that. I have it on video also. And what I did was I brought a high-end stereo system into the courtroom. I taught the jury, who were mostly young girls, I taught them all the terminology that we use in doing audio here, and then I broke down the first couple of minutes of the song Bad and told them what they were going to hear, how they would hear it. And they did. And then they played the 25th anniversary celebratory version of Bad. That was horrible. They completely squashed it. All dynamics were squashed. And they heard it. And I helped Quincy win $10 million. Yeah, it was a lot of pressure to get on the witness stand and testify, but it was great.
When did you start your interest in music? Do you remember it?
When I was a little kid. When I was a little,
Were your parents involved? Musicians?
they liked music, but they weren't fanatics about it. But they liked music. But what they used to do is bring me downstairs before I could read. I knew all their records, and I knew what each record was, who the artist was, and I could tell them. Even if it was the same label, even if there were 5 records on Columbia Records, and I couldn't read, I could say, this is Arthur Godfrey, this is Julius La Rosa, these were all artists you didn't know, but I could tell them. And that was how they would show me off to their friends. And then when I got older and became a record fanatic, then they were upset with me for being a record fanatic. Well, they made me a record fanatic. You know, it wasn't as if I found that on my own. So yeah, and then like when I was in college, my father broke a record over my head. He was so angry.
Really?
Yeah, but now I've had my revenge.
And when did you write your first article? Like, do you remember this?
That's a good question. Yeah, I do remember it actually. I did a lot of radio commercials. I was in law school and I started making radio commercials. So I'm very verbal, and I made very funny radio commercials. And then
Which radio was it?
on WBCN in Boston, which is the premier.
How old were you?
Then I was in law school, so I was like 19, 20.
Really young.
Yeah. So I was on the radio, and I was making radio commercials. And the Boston Phoenix, which was an alternative magazine, said to me, "We're doing a music supplement. Why don't you write a story on the 10 best-sounding records that you know?" And I did.
You
That was
remember
the
that?
first. I saved everything, you know. So I wrote that story.
Has the situation changed a lot since then? That time?
And you know what else I did? A few years later, they did a parody of the National Enquirer, and I wrote an article about Elton John having a sex change operation. That was way ahead of its time,
Incredible.
because he didn't have a sex change operation, but you wouldn't be able to do that today, because everything's so PC, politically correct. You couldn't write a story like that. But it was very funny.
Well, and what do you think? Like, where is it going? What is the future of it?
Of what? Of this industry?
Yeah, this industry.
Well, I think
some people say it's very, sad.
It's sad?
Yes, because it's, it's going down.
No, it's,
No?
I don't think
know.
so.
I'm just asking.
I think it's going in different directions.
Where is it?
You know, I think certain segment of it is going towards listening to music on your phone, low resolution audio, terrible sound, is that. But then there's what you're doing. There's people that want better, you know? And so whatever it is you want, you can now get. And so there's a younger generation with no attention span who doesn't even pay for music. They stream it for nothing. And I try to get to those kids. I try to talk to them and tell them they don't pay, they pay nothing and they get nothing. And the music's streaming by and they have no hold on it. And so in 20 years, will they know what they were listening to? Will they remember it?
Well, it's great that such shows exist.
Yeah.
That it helps to, people to discover more.
Yeah.
Especially young
And I think headphones are the gateway drug for our industry. So when you go to the headphone areas, you see young people putting on headphones, listening to their MP3s, but also someone's going to say, hey, here's that same music in a high-resolution file. And there are these idiots out there who go, you can't hear the difference between an MP3 and a high-resolution file. Please, of course you can. Get a kid, put headphones on them, and play them both. And a certain percentage of those kids are going to respond to it, and a certain percentage won't care. But that's always been true. So this industry's not going away.
Good news. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I'm optimistic. 30 years ago.
Let's help them to get back.
30 years ago, when I said records are going to come back, and I said that 30 years ago. People said, "You're crazy." It's coming back, and I said, and they said, "You're crazy." I said, "No, it's going to come back." The CDs just sound terrible, and people are going to stop listening to CDs, and it's going to get worse and worse, and that's what happened. It got worse and worse, and people moved away from paying attention to music. You've got to, when it's like this, when it's a tape or a good record, you sit and you listen to it. That's what the job is to sit there and pay attention to music. And that's what you do. And the worse it gets, the less you want to pay attention. You read a book while you listen to music, but you're not really paying attention. It's like, what if I was having this conversation with you and I was reading a book, and you were talking to me and asking me questions, and that would be horrible. It would be offensive. So when an artist is putting the work in and making a recording and says, I want you to listen to my music, you owe it to them to sit and pay attention to it. And the kind of music that's being created that you don't pay attention to is junk. And the way it sounds is junk too, so you don't pay attention to it. If it's compelling music and the sound is compelling, you'll take the time to sit down, look at your speakers, see the picture, and enjoy the music the way it's meant to be enjoyed.
Yeah, I think people sometimes they don't know how to enjoy it.
No.
They like to talk about it, they like to, how to feel like words and,
With those people,
discuss a
if
lot.
you're an audio, if you're really an
Then
audiophile,
when you find out what they listen to, you get scared.
Yes.
Isn't it true?
but a real music lover who's an audiophile sits, makes time, puts a record on, turns the lights down, and has the privilege of having a sound system that's so good that you can create the illusion of it happening live in front of you. And then you want to turn the lights out and you want to listen to it. That's what I do. It's my job. But when I'm done working, I'll put a record on, turn the lights down, and sit there like a zombie. And when I do that for 3 or 4 records, it transforms me, it changes me. It changes my emotional state.
Really only once, right?
Yeah. Well, truly, I've lived many times as a vampire.
So thank you so much for the interview. It was wonderful talking to you.
That's $100.